Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Cryptic Conversations. I'm your host, Tunes from the Crypt, and today we have another very special episode in store today. Today's guest is Gina Cavalier. Gina is a mental health advocate, filmmaker, author, illustrator, speaker, spiritual healer, founder, and host of the Liberated Healer podcast. She is a media veteran and a former entertainment studio executive. She has been involved with contributions to over 300 titles and worldwide products such as Harry Potter, The Fantastic Beasts, Wonka, Constantine, and more. Gina embarked on a fascinating healing journey over 15 years where she healed her suicidal ideation and found self-love. And her life's purpose is to be in service to others through her spiritual journey. She has performed hundreds of clairvoyant readings and is now teaching others the tools to heal themselves. She co-authored and hand-inked 30 illustrations in a new book that will be released this summer titled Surviving Suicidal Ideation: From Therapy, Spirituality, and the Lived Experience. She is also producing a documentary about this preventable worldwide affliction and created a nonprofit, Suicidal Ideation Anonymous, all to help others see there is another way and see that healing is possible. And I'm honored to have her today, so welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Yeah,
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, that was a long intro. To kick things off, I want to premise this show by saying that I know that these are difficult topics to discuss, but that's exactly why it's even more important to have these kinds of conversations. I feel like a lot of times people in society want to turn a blind eye to uncomfortable topics, and I was thinking, maybe even I'm guilty at times, but it's not acceptable. And I think that we need to do better. So thank you for the work that you're doing, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Absolutely. So the co-author is a trauma-informed therapist, Dr. Amelia Kelly. And I had already known I was going to write a couple books. Now that I do the spiritual work, I already can see where my path is going to lead. And I was told I was going to write 3 books. I kind of channel different energies, and I even channel Gene Roddenberry at times. I used to work for his wife. That's kind of where my writing career started. And I don't know, something just told me you have to have a clinical representation. So you have a more of a 360 picture view. And I had Dr. Kelly on my podcast, and something just kept saying, ask her. And I was like, oh, ask what? And I was having this, hey, I've healed this completely in myself to the point where I can't even think of harming myself. Not even to that point, as in, I don't really even talk to myself negatively anymore. When bad things happen, I analyze it completely different. And I have actually reprogrammed it. And I want people to know that they don't have to live their whole life with this. Not even that. Some people live their entire life with suicidal ideation, not just the people that actually do it. And it's a slow death in itself. And I wanted people to know that, hey, you really don't have to live your whole life with this. It's actually something that could be healed, which I didn't think it was ever going to be healed. I thought it was a part of my life forever.
Yeah.
And Dr. Kelly believed that we need to bring this out into the open with levity, with, of course, sensitivity. But as we bring it into the light, the darkness of it falls off. The fear of it starts to fall off, and we can have conversations that are needed to happen, be had, actually. Yeah. Your first point is the most important.
Yeah, I like to, really, set the standard. And, it reminds me of a quote. So I wanted to share this quote with you. Maybe you've heard it. It's something that my dad has always told me, and it's so profound. It's simple, but profound. And I think so the best thing that you can do for someone else is to take really good care of yourself.
Oh, there you go. Yep. There you go. Yeah, because I always say they're like, what are the 2 things? And I say, for me, is I learned how to love myself. I didn't realize I didn't love myself. What I was doing is I was giving all my love to the people in my life, my friends, my partner, my job, my projects, my clients. And I was going home, and inside my head, I was like, oh, you did really good today, but you made a mistake. You missed that meeting, but you, weren't your best self at, and I would think, now that I'm healed, oh my gosh, anybody who lived in my mind at that time would have been suicidal. The way that I spoke to myself was so awful. I didn't speak to anybody else like that.
Yeah.
not a single other person. I treated everybody with love, caring, and kindness, and I treated them partially in the reason because I didn't want them to leave me because I had this giant abandonment wound.
Mm,
So even people that were toxic in my life, people that didn't deserve to be in my life,
yeah.
I still didn't want to lose them, you know. And so now I'm feeling bad that I am you could I knew I was in toxic, not being treated right. I knew I was in toxic relationships, but I still at that same time afraid to lose these awful people that were treating me crappy. I mean, to the point of stealing from me, cheating on me. And I would justify that in my mind because wow, if I have to break up with them, I have to go through
Hmm.
this whole loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a vicious circle.
Yeah, it really is, and I'm coming to find, that just more and more people these days are struggling with it. So I wanted to ask you, do you have any kind of statistics on the rate of suicide in the United States?
One in every 11 minutes, someone commits suicide. So this isn't people who have suicidal ideation. 45% of people go to see a therapist or a doctor 1 month before they commit suicide without telling their therapist that they are considering suicide.
1 month? Wow.
Yeah, 45% have gone to a doctor. So they're there in front of a doctor, in front of the therapist, or in front of somebody that could help them, and they don't tell them.
Oh, man.
55% are done with handguns or guns. It's the leading causing death in the United States. It's the highest right now. The only other time it was the highest in the United States was in 1941 when it was the end of the Great Depression, when
Mm,
people were losing all their money and they were starving.
yeah,
So basically, we lose 50,000 people in the United States a day. I mean, I'm sorry, a year,
a
50,000.
year.
Yeah, so that equals 132 a day.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and 12.3 million adults seriously considered suicide in the US. It's a
Hmm.
lot. I mean,
Wow, yeah.
and so you have the actual suicide, then you have attempts, and then you have ideation. And so 1.7 million people have had an attempt.
Mm,
So in the ranges, the ranges are getting younger and younger too. We're talking about 10 years old.
yeah.
This is a 10 to 14-year-olds right now stand at 10%. 10 to 14.
Hmm.
So a lot of my things are what made us more suicide. The more modern we got, the more medicine we got, the more money we got, the more suicidal we got. Like
Hmm.
there's something disconnected here.
Hmm.
We have all the medicines we've ever wanted. We have all the money we've ever wanted in a way. If you want
Hmm.
it, you can find it, you can get
Yeah.
it, right? Well, we're modern, we get things. And so I think a big part of it is a loneliness, disconnectedness, feeling like you're not a part of anything. That's why for me, even though the book has a lot of spiritual stuff in it, even an atheist could pick up the book though, because it has
Mm,
a lot of just regular techniques of moving energy. And I mean, quantum physics, I don't have to explain that. I mean, we now know that is everywhere. So we know we're energy. We have really brilliant people that explain it in a way that I couldn't do it. But we know we're energy. We know that we could pick up good energy, bad energy. We know how to change it, manipulate it, let it flow. So we have those kind of things in the book. But it's really like a workbook, which is great because a lot of people don't want to tell anybody. And I only told one person. And that one person told me that they couldn't help me. So I didn't tell anybody else for a really long time because I was so afraid. But the workbook actually can be something that you could take home and just work on it yourself if you're afraid to tell anyone. And because it has it from my experience, my memoir story of possibly why this is all kind of happened to me, and then what the steps I took to heal it. And then you have a doctor coming in saying, here's what a small trauma is, here's what a large trauma is, here's how parts works, here's some taboos, here's some red flags. And then we have a whole resource thing list in the back with apps that might help you and just as much information as we could put together.
I love that. So, like I said, thank you for the work that you're doing. It's like as I'm discussing this with you, I can really feel it, bringing my energy down. And like I said, I could see how people, they just want to turn a blind's eye to these topics. They don't want to talk about it. They want to avoid it. But like I said, it just makes it that much more important to have it, because look at all of those numbers that you shared, those statistics. It's and as I was putting my outline together for the show, I was getting a little emotional yesterday, because it was like, as I was putting it together, it was like there's people in my life and family members and stuff that I forgot that this even happened, and it was like, and then it started to bring back, oh yeah, like this has been a part of my life, and how often it occurs, you know what I mean? And so I want to piggyback for a second to what you said. You said that it seems like kids, and I agree with you, that kids and teens are having more mental health concerns than ever before. And so you said loneliness and all these different things. And I'm curious to get your thoughts on it, but I also think social media has a big part of it.
Of course. Especially since after COVID, the one of the things that I've recognized, and I'm not a doctor, of course, everybody knows that, but one of the things that I've recognized is this sense of disconnectedness, right? This numbness. Because I could be out at a dinner party and I just could feel, and I'd be laughing, ha ha ha, giggling, having a little drink, and being my and I was always the same kind of personality I had now, outgoing, talk to anybody. People would have no idea, right? But I would go home and I just felt so alone. I felt a disconnection from the world because I had unworthiness from a childhood abuse. And I just felt like, I don't know, I kind of fit in that circle, but not really. I always felt on the outside of like little circles, right?
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
And so I was like, well, I'm in, but I'm kind of not in. I'm not a part of the group, So I go, I don't belong there. Well, I kind of don't belong there. And then I don't belong there. Well, I belong with those guys, but they're toxic, but okay. And so at least it's somebody. And then, but it still didn't feel authentic or right. And I wasn't expressing myself. And naturally, I was watching my words all the time. So then my throat would get choked up because I didn't have my voice. I wasn't
Oh
being my
wow.
personality. I wasn't pursuing a passion in my life. I got the job of my dreams working at Warner Brothers, and it was they were cruel. The people in my department were mean. They were jealous. I got the title and the job I wanted, but I felt outside of that circle. And so there was a weird disconnectedness. And what happens is that happens over and over again. I just started to get numb, just numb. And when you get numb, you just go, you know what? I don't want to be here. I don't belong here. I don't belong here. There's just nothing for me. Nobody understands me. Nobody sees me. What is my purpose? And I knew I was a good person, but I was just disconnected. I even got to the point where I sold my home because I wanted to end it. And I had a couple things I had to figure out: who was going to take my rescue dogs, what was going to happen with them. And then I realized I had bought this house when I was really young in my 20s, right? And I had all this equity in the house. I said, well, I'm going to sell the house, at least spend the money or give it away, right? So I sold my house. I made $500,000 on my house, and I gave away the money.
Oh wow.
I paid people's legal bills. I paid for their vet bills. I just was giving it away, and nobody was paying attention. That's a huge red flag if someone's giving away their things and their money. I was just giving it away. But it's also the weirdest thing, because that's when my healing really came in, because I'd already been doing all this healing work and reading about energy and stuff like that. So it helped me a lot, but it didn't click until I sold my home and started giving away all my things. And then I started volunteering at an animal shelter, picking up poop and walking dogs. I was a VP at a studio. And that's how I was trying to feel something. I was like, and that really, I'm not even kidding you, like seeing helpless animals that I was affecting their life slowly started to help me. And then when I started giving away my things, I lost the ability, I took the power away from money. Okay. And I relate it to almost like a Jesus thing where you're supposed to give away. Not that I like abundance. I think we all love and we all need money, and I'm fine. I don't even care if you want to be a billionaire, but I'm talking about the power money has over us. And
Oh yeah.
I lost that power. I said, you don't matter to me. You don't matter to me, really. I'm giving you away. That was my retirement, by the way. I don't have a retirement right now. That was my retirement. But in a weird way, I still know I'm going to be okay. And I told money, you don't have power over me anymore. And then I started healing, and I started being like, oh, wow. And I started falling in love with myself. And I was like, money, I get it. I don't get it. I give it. And I think because we also have this pressure, they have these clothes and they have this car and
Oh
I got
yeah.
to buy a house, and the power of money um doesn't it doesn't fulfill us, right? It doesn't love you back,
Yeah.
right? So having money to have experiences, like if you want to, is a great thing, but have it in the right way. Have it be abundant in the way where it serves you to have a higher purpose or things like that. So yeah, kind of
Yeah.
going.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I can relate to you as well. I've always been like you said, like you said, I would be with different groups, different cliques, and I would be around a big group of people. I'd be around all these people, but yet feel alone inside. And it's crazy. It's like now I cut off all those people and I'm alone, but I feel so much more connected. And you would think it would be the other way around, but it's like when I'm alone, that's, I guess maybe I'm an introvert. Is that, introvert, extrovert, or whatever? I don't know, but it was like maybe it was just the wrong people, but it's like it's weird how I've noticed that in my life too. It was like always the bigger the friend group got, more toxic stuff, drama, this and that. And I just felt like, I was like, man, like what am I even doing around these people? Like, and I would drink a lot. I was a party guy, and I've been on my spiritual journey, I've been sober and doing the whole thing. And I like what you said there too, like, and what I've come to find as well is living a life of service gives me so much happiness. I literally have a habit now. I see a homeless guy on the street and I'll buy him food. I remember it was my birthday, like last year. It was my birthday. I was alone on my birthday, and it was like I always get in a down mood on my birthday for some reason. Everyone else is happy it's their birthday, and it's like me. It's like, oh, another year. I'm getting older, and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? Like I was feeling down. I really was. It was my birthday. I was feeling down. I was like, I'm gonna go find a homeless guy. I'm gonna go buy him some food, and that's what I did for my birthday last year. I went hunted a guy down, and it just makes you feel so much better. And I think that's such a profound tip to give to the people. Like I said, it's not about money. It's not about all these material things. The thing that's going to give you the most fulfillment, make you the happiest is do something for someone else, man.
Oh, I love being in certain, and I think you and I are on the same wavelengths. I think we actually are extroverts in a way, but you have self-love if you can be with yourself
Mm.
and still enjoy it. Because I wake all those years in all the studios, I used to wake up, the alarm clock. Oh, I can't wait till Friday. I work now in my own business 12, 14 hours a day. I get up every morning, but I get up every morning. Okay, what do I got going on? Okay. And I do my healthy practices just to say because mental health is my number one priority. I always wake up, I do my grounding techniques because that I have anxiety. So I ground myself and I'm like, okay, who am I going to meet with today? Okay, what's the process? Okay, I think my animals, I think whoever came in my life,
Yeah.
right? And I set it up calmly. I used to just get up, go get coffee, go to the studio and sit at my desk, go to these meetings of people just saying crap about people and being mean. And then of course what are you going to do? It's your job, right? And
Yeah.
now you have all tied to the money and the
Yep.
benefits, right? And it just is like a slow death. And it was just not fun. So what I encourage people to do where they should start is if they're kind of feeling that way. And of course, a lot of people need these jobs, right? But still, if you have a passion, if you're like, that doesn't make me excited, you have to know what makes you excited, whether it could be anything, getting into an exercise routine, volunteering, art, writing, whatever. And you have to take one tiny step towards that all the time, a little bit, because that path will start to illuminate as you clear away the cobwebs. And then you use your intuition and energy, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm supposed to go here. And then spiritually and energetically, you'll get your guides will start to activate, and you'll get they're probably like, we've been trying to tell you that you're supposed to go down this road.
Yeah.
And then but somehow it gets illuminated almost. I'm not even kidding you, like a light shines on a path. It's
Yeah.
so, and your intuition, and we're so magical, and we have all these neat, every single person have these neat skills inside of them that have been killed or deadened. And they really can illuminate stuff. I'll see some things and I'm like, I'm supposed to talk to that person.
Oh wow.
And then you go up and you're like, what's even weird is my co-author, her name's Amelia, Dr. Amelia.
Mhm.
a long time ago when I was depressed, I got a tattoo of Amelia Earhart on my arm. And then
Oh,
years
wow.
later, I had it lasered off because I was like, I don't even know why I got that. And not even until like a couple weeks ago when I saw a picture of the tattoo that I removed, I was like, Amelia,
Oh,
because I
wow.
just kept hearing this name Amelia. And I thought it was
Oh,
Amelia
my
Earhart for some
God.
reason. But it's weird. And it's a strange name. It's not one that you hear all the time, right? And then I just started looking up and at my guys going, dude, like I got here. I got here. I got now I get to fly. I get to fly my own ship. I get, money lost power over me. I don't wake up in the middle of the night like, like how am I gonna if I can't pay my bills, you know what am I gonna I'm gonna okay, I'll die. Or and like I don't know, like you have to have a healthy relationship with
Yeah.
money. And like I said, I don't care if you want to have a lot of money. It's not the want to have money. It's not the want to have nice things, but it's that relationship and the power of it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Wow, I love what you're sharing there. I'm not sure if you've seen any of my other podcasts, but I'm always talking about synchronicities. And so that was a synchronicity for you, that getting that tattoo, and then that's the co-author. You're on the path now. Like you said, now the light is there. It's illuminated for you. All the trauma, all the pain that you went through, all that darkness led you to this point, and it helps you just makes more sense of your life now, right? It's a beautiful thing. And so you're diving into a lot of these topics that I have these questions for you. So real quick though,
Okay.
are you familiar with what about the suicide awareness song that was popular a few years back by Logic?
No,
Oh, you haven't heard that? It was all over the radio a few years ago. It's that rapper Logic, and he has
I
that
know, I know logic, but I'm gonna have to look that up.
and yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. I don't know why, but it was just because it
Yeah.
was it was so profound. It was so amazing because the title of the song is the suicide hotline number, and you go on that YouTube video and look at all the comments, and all the people are like, "Man,
Okay.
this song saved my life," and it's really beautiful. So I think we all have to share our art with the world. So similar to Logic, once again, I want to send you so much appreciation for the work you're doing. I think the work you're doing is extremely important. So obviously you found a passion in life by pursuing this line of work and overcoming some of the darkness of your past, learning healing techniques and wanting to share them with the world. So with that said, can you talk about your story a little bit? What led you to this point to pursue this line of work?
I was suffering and I was tired of being suffering. And I was either going to end it or I was going to go fix it. And so I knew that it was all within myself. And that's why everything I teach is like called the liberated healers, because everybody can liberate through their own healing, doing their own work. Because you're the only one that's with you 24/7. There's not a therapist who can be with you 24/7. There's not anything that can be with you. So you have to be your own guidance healer. Not saying, and then you have to lean into what's working. And you're the only one who knows what works. But you really have to literally outline, okay, I like music. I need to listen to more music. I need to turn off the TV. I need to have less social media. But when you're scrolling on social media and all of a sudden something goes, this doesn't feel good, turn
Yeah,
it off, turn it
yeah,
off, go do something else,
yeah.
walk a dog, go around the block. I need physical activity. I want to learn how energy works. I want to take an energy class. For me, I ground every day. I run my energy every day. I can connect to my higher self every day. I moved to the beach because I have anxiety and other things from old stuff. So if I'm having a really bad panic attack, I'll just go to the beach and it's gone within minutes, because there's a ionization of being around nature at that level that will actually ground you, and put your energy centers back together. But you just really need to make that plan, and whether it's qigong, martial arts, karate, anything that is yours, and you can cross it off. Take a class and like, well, I didn't like art class. Next, I liked that class. Okay, I feel really good, like kicking the shit out of something. I'm gonna take that karate class or that boxing class. Like boxing, oh my god, my boxing classes were so much fun. It was healing. I could kick something and just like, the energy of it,
Yeah,
like I needed to get it out. I needed to get
yeah,
out the pain and the suffering and the anxiety. And it felt really good. And to have somebody go, come on, and
yeah.
yeah, and I just like with all my energy, but it was what works for you. You have to make your own plan.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
you're providing some great tips and stuff like that, but I can also see how people might be like, yeah, it's easier said than done. Like I don't feel right. I don't feel good. And so what advice can you give to people out there on how to overcome such a challenging problem such as suicidal ideation when they're really in that darkness of it?
Mhm. Well, there's a safety plan. You can print it out and we have it on drmeliakelly.com and also it's online. But the safety plan will already give you kind of instructions because you do need to have a backup. Um, if you feel comfortable to find at least a person that you can share it with would be great. Have the hotlines like really accessible and near you or readily available to you. Seek out some reading situations. But really the first thing there's just one technique I use all the time and it's grounding. You have to learn how to ground yourself. They're all over on YouTube. They're on my website, theliberatedhealer.com, or my YouTube channel. But the grounding, for some reason, because energy's everywhere all at once, right? And for example, when you're building a home, the electrician will go into the house and while he's wiring the entire house, the first thing they do is they put that grounding cord onto the earth. Why do they do that? Otherwise, the energy will go over the house. We are exactly the same. We need
Yes.
to put that ground, we need to connect to the earth. I'm not even kidding you. It releases the negative energy in you and the fears. It's almost like you have all the positive energy is funnel up and the negative energy is funnel down. And if you get
Wow.
grounded, it just falls out. It's the most amazing tool. I ground everything. I ground my dogs, I ground my home, I ground
Yeah.
everything. And I do tests on it. I would ground meetings. I would
Mm.
do tests. I ground my yoga studio and watch people like, things like that. But also, I I know how they're feeling if they're feeling like that disconnection. You have to build that connection back. And for me, the other second thing was connecting to my soul, but remembering that light inside of you is it's like a part of a star. You are so beautiful. You have every one of us owns a part of a star inside of us. And it's so bright and it's so magical. And the way your body looks, you picked it. The way that the way that the family that you have, your background,
Yeah.
you have designed this to learn something. So stay here and get through the lessons. And remember that you have that light inside of you that is so loving and special and beautiful. You don't want to put that light out because suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Yep.
Permanent solution to a temporary problem. It's a temporary problem.
Yeah,
You can't
exactly.
go back though.
Yeah.
You can't go back. And Jordan Peterson, I really like Jordan Peterson. What
Yeah.
he says is just wait one more day. Just tell yourself, I'm going to wait one more day. And then the next day, I'm going to wait one more day. And you actually a lot of times the energy will shift within 24 hours where you're in that. We list out the phases in the book, 1 through 5. So 5 is obviously the top, but you're usually not in 5 for really long periods of time. So if you can wait one more day, you'll slip back into the other phases and you'll start
Hmm.
your energy will shift. And so you got to give yourself that extra day. Just say, okay, I'm going to wait till tomorrow. And then the next day, wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I'm actually noticing a lot of synchronicities just by conversing with you. Like, I don't know if you saw any of my videos, but I'm a big grounder. I ground every day too. I go put my bare feet in the ground. And I don't think I've ever been suicidal. I'll put that out there. But I've been in dark places a couple of times in my life where, definitely some anxiety, some depression. I don't think I've gotten to that level quite yet. But yeah, grounding has been such a game changer for my mindset, my energy. Like I said, we're trying to figure out what, like you said earlier, society, we have more money, we should be happier, right? But no, it's like what I've come to find, and I keep telling the same story over and over about my ayahuasca retreat. I went on an ayahuasca retreat, and what that showed me was how the indigenous people lived. They're a lot happier. They have a tribe, they have a community. No one feels alone. You don't feel isolated. And what do? They spend time out in nature. They're always out in nature. So I think those are two very important things. You need to find your tribe, you need to find your community, and you need to go out in nature. How many of us, like I said, we work on our computer all day, then we turn on Netflix, and then we watch Netflix, and we're on our phone. how many people live their lives like that? Do they ever go out and get some sunlight, go get some fresh air, go be in nature? Like, I think that's a big reason why too.
Well, on the documentary, that's what I'm uncovering. What happened is when money became really the power, when money became in charge of us as a society, especially in America, like 200 years ago, it came in like when the trains came in and the oil came in and things like that. That's when the people with a lot of money, like, were trying to separate us from our spirituality.
Mm,
Right? And if you look at
yeah,
the Eastern like really kept a hold of their spirituality for the most part,
yeah,
like India and all that stuff like that. And so in the 19 and this is all kind of like divinely planned. So now the spirituality is kind of fighting back. So like the 40s and 50s, we had Yogananda come in, and people were like, "Oh, he's from India. It's okay, we can listen to him." But that's not our culture, you know. But really, it was a long time ago. We
yeah.
our meat that we ate. We
Oh
thanked
yeah,
it. We used it in the proper way. We respected it. Spirituality came first, and it wasn't religion that came first. Religion was, you know, created and
yeah,
built to put us in a box so
yep.
they people with the money could control us.
Oh yeah,
So they are pushing us away from spirituality because if we have our own spirituality, if we're connected to our higher self, if we don't care about money, they can't control us. They
yep,
can't tell us what to put in our
exactly.
food, what to eat, whatever this.
Yep.
They want us. They
Oh
want
yeah,
us not spiritual. They want us disconnected. And so the more we get connected, the more powerful the individual comes, the more powerful the whole group becomes. Yeah, and that's
yeah.
where we're going, and that's why YouTube is great, and all these podcasts are great. We've been forced like six media companies for decades.
Oh yeah,
They're going
yeah,
away. You know, nobody even really, they've turned into tabloids, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Worse than anything you could see on whatever. And it's like no real conversations are happening. You couldn't say certain things, you'd get blacklisted, things like that. You know, things are changing for the good. Even though the world feels like it's actually a lot of bad things are happening. Um, Actually, there's a lot of great things happening that,
yeah,
you and I having these
yeah.
conversations, people are going to get inside and go, you know what? I'm going to have a show, or I'm going to start a small group in my community. You know what? I'm going to go rescue some animals. I'm going to start caring more about the food I eat and the toxin. I mean, I've had all these guys talk on about toxins and all these big companies like Johnson. I had a guy on my show the other day. I'm getting fired up. He has sued more big companies than anybody in America, David Steinman. He is actively, constantly pouring all his money into suing these companies who are pouring toxins all over us constantly.
Nice.
There's a like California olive oil company up north. They spray the worst toxins on the olives, and it's in Whole Foods right now.
Oh
Like,
wow.
and it's causing autism. It's causing women to have early menopause. I mean, it's just constant stuff. And why are they allowed to do that? Like, it's like we've lost it in a way of like, no, we got to go back to nature. We got to go back
Yeah.
to tribe. We got to take care of our elders. We got to protect our children. People that hurt children, they're gone. They need to go away, or they, go into some program or something. But we have to protect the kids. We can't let people hurt kids anymore, and we have to take care of our elders. They're sitting there in a convalescent home by themselves, like lonely. They don't even have someone to read them a book. People forget about them. They put them in a home and they go see them on Christmas. It's just,
Yeah.
yes, no, we have to go back, take care of our old people. Let's go to spirit, go back in
Yeah.
love, get rid of all the toxic conversations, stop judging people stop fighting over, you know how dumb it is to fight over politics online?
Oh
People
yeah.
lose families because they believe something differently
Oh
about
yeah.
politics. It's, that's where it's like you have a choice to get involved in that or not,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know.
everything you're speaking on right there to me is like the greatest conspiracy that's been against humanity, against us for quite some time now. And that's why I've always been into conspiracy theories. I'm always researching it, like, well, what's this? Why is this happening? And everything that you just said right there is like the greatest conspiracy that's against us. Because why? Because they want to keep you weak. They've disconnected us from our spirituality, so we're just slave labor workers, and pay our taxes, And so, you know, yeah, like you said, I think it's funny. Are you familiar with the comedian George Carlin?
Yes.
Yeah, I love what he says about. He's like, man, only America would be so stupid, so foolish to wipe out such a spiritual people as the Indians and build a shopping mall all across America. It's what
Oh,
America is, just a shopping mall. And we're so disconnected, and so yeah,
oh gosh, I love that line. It's so true.
yeah,
In every industry, it has to be a little bit knocked down. I mean, the entertainment industry where I came in, I saw horrible things. There's so much darkness, what they do to child actors, I mean, the stories they
oh
won't even
wow,
get out. They're like the mob. I'm not even kidding you. If you go against certain people in the entertainment industry, man, they will hunt you down. They will, I mean, there's all kinds of crazy shit. Like Twitch, for example, like there's some shenanigans going on, controversy with him, if you want to look into that. Um, then they call it a suicide. I mean, there's the musicians, Chris Cornell and
yeah,
Lincoln Park guy. We don't believe that they committed suicide at all.
mm,
There's that's why I was saying the children, because there's a lot of especially with the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, that's
mm,
the tip of the iceberg. And so people are all fearful of getting found out, and they're getting rid of people that have any knowledge or information about it. And we have to protect those people. We have to protect the whistleblowers. There's just so
yeah,
much, like, we have to come together. And
yeah,
how you do is you start with yourself, checking yourself, and nobody's perfect, but just, being grounded and being in love and kindness for yourself and all the people around you. And walking the walk, just generally staying out of those toxic conversations that don't help anyone. There's constantly moving forward to the right stuff. And then when people are doing like the really bad stuff, we come together and we can say, no more. You're not treating our family like this anymore. You're not treating
hmm,
kids like this anymore. But we have to come together. We
yeah,
have to. Because they're too powerful. They are powerful and they're scary. But they will use all of our fear buttons to scare us.
yeah,
And they just push them over and over again. And that's why the news is so full of scary.
yep.
Everybody, I have family all over the world, and they always call, are you guys like underwater? I'm like, no, it's raining. But it's just the constant fear on media,
Yeah,
on the traditional media. And that's why we're going away from it, because we're tired of it.
yeah. Yeah, I'm realizing you're a lot more advanced than I was expecting when you're talking about these spirituality concepts. You're talking about your higher self and connecting with your guides and all that. So I'm curious, how did you get to that level? Did you do ayahuasca, or have you just been doing a lot of research, or how'd you get to that level?
The one thing that works for me is because you first have to learn how you process energy, and everybody does differently. I process physically. And I can feel. So I can feel things that might come up on you. And then sometimes I'll start to feel it. Like, say, if I'm dealing with somebody who has a bad heart, I start to feel that I feel physically, right? So you have to kind of learn. Some people get audio cues, some people
Yeah,
get
yeah.
visualization, right? So I had a process. So I went to a school called Berkeley Psychic Institute. It's like a college for
Oh,
psychic. And we worked a lot. So I'm not even like, how these people do these like weekend certificates, and I'm like, oh, and they get like this, I'm a Reiki person. I went to days. I literally went for 5 years straight. That's where all the hundreds of free clairvoyant readings, and we would have to sit in the room, and I'm talking about 4 hours at a time, and read people's energy.
oh wow.
And what that did for me is that really made me see the power of energy and how you can transmute it and move it, and how
Yeah.
I can just really ask a question and ask my intuition, like, is this person lying to me? Yes. Or no. Or is this person have nefarious things that they want to do? Yes.
Mm,
You can really start to build a road with your intuition, because it's been beating out of us for years, right?
yeah.
So learning energy, and then how to, honestly, like what my chakras were, and how these are all energy centers, how to clear it, how to like, our aura, it is, this round bit is our aura. How when people throw judgments on other people, it's sort of like almost like a wet pancake that they're throwing on the aura. And if people get judged too much and then they don't know how to clear that space, they will get sad and depressed, because it can, when you throw an energy is powerful. If
Oh
I took
yeah.
if I took a negative thing and threw it at you, It goes across the world. I could throw it right at you, and you would cut your energy would feel like a dent. It
Mm,
feels it, but we're not taught these things anymore.
yeah.
So now we're walking around sort of all dented and bumped and but from everyone else. There is ways to clean it. That's what I call grounding and running your energy. But a lot of people aren't taught it. I mean, we definitely aren't taught this stuff in schools. We're taught the stuff that we're not going to use or need.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did hundreds of readings on people, and then now you know, you go into learning your knowingness. Like I know that I see a ghost, or I know I have a guide, or I know, and how to build like clarity with yourself, so you're not like, is that really happening? Having confidence in your own awareness is what I'm saying. That's a road
Yeah.
that's hard to build. Like, yeah, I know that's a X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So you learn how to do that. And once you learn how to do all that, there's a seniority that comes over you because you have a knowingness that
Yep.
and that knowingness is sort of what I think you have, because you're saying now, I feel like I'm still an extrovert or whatever, but I still get up now and have this drive to spread my messages. You have a
Hmm.
knowingness about what you're doing. You have a knowingness that you're going down the
Oh,
road,
yeah.
but that gives you seniority. And you can't knock down someone who has seniority, because
Mm,
when you walk into any room, it doesn't matter if the president is right here. If you hold your seniority, you know that you're an equal person. I'm a person, you're a person. We're equal.
yeah.
But when you're depressed and when you have anxiety and when you've been beaten down,
Oh,
you
yeah.
put your seniority away.
Oh,
You know what I mean? And it's like you walk in, you're like, I know you're the boss.
yeah.
I know
Oh, wow.
you have a better friendship, you have a better family, and people walk around like that.
Oh my God. Wow. I've never heard it explained like that. Wow. That makes a lot of sense. That's how I used to be when I was drinking and partying. I was that person. And so it makes me think, are you familiar how they refer to alcohol? It's like beer, wine, and spirits. They refer to alcohol as spirits, right? So I think it really does. It lowers your vibration and it turn you kind of become like a zombie like that. Or even like you said, the prescription, big pharma, they just want to give kids with ADHD and stuff, just give them these medications and stuff, and it just keeps you as a servant in that kind of low vibrational state.
Well, there is a dark side. There's not a hell. The darkness is actually here on Earth. But it's not as powerful as it seems. But I liken it to it's the sediment in the if you were to go in a lake and all that crusty stuff at the bottom that's like laying on top of rocks, the
Oh,
sediment. That's how I explain darkness.
oh,
You can
okay.
either rise above the sediment, you
Yeah,
can lay in it. And once the darkness kind of starts to seep in, it's really not powerful at all. But when you drop your defenses, that's when you're drinking and you're doing drugs. You do drop, because your energy is like, yeah,
yeah,
higher or lower, right? So when you drop, you drink and you do drugs, or if you hang around toxic people and different things, right? Or people doing, nefarious things that we were talking about to kids or something like that, your vibration is super low. The darkness will come in, it
yeah.
can kind of embody your whole energy, and you still hold that light though, for the most part. There's
Uh,
very few people that light actually goes out in,
mm,
like people that maybe go on a murdering spree or whatever, that light's pretty much gone. But it's not as powerful as it is, but you're giving the darkness power if you're going to do drugs. You're
mm.
giving, and like I'll drink minimally once in a while when I'm out with friends, because I want to have a balanced life and be social. But I have you ever heard of a band called Flogging Molly?
Yeah.
Okay, I was married to the singer
Oh,
for
yeah.
9 years. Yeah. So we had to break up because so I could do this work, and I loved him very much, and he actually left me. But when he left me, he said, Gina, I'm doing this for you. And I was like,
Oh,
excuse me, for me. And still to this day, I still have love for him. But it's taken me a really long time to realize he was doing it for me. He knew I
oh,
had to have
wow.
a purpose. He was in his purpose. He wants to sing and he wants to be around alcohol. And he wants to be around a lot of people. He doesn't, that is his purpose. But the way that they drink, I mean, they drink every day in that
Mm.
situation, and a lot. And I would never have been, and we're spiritual. His spirit knew and loved me enough to let me go so I could be on this spiritual path so I can go help people,
Wow.
you know? And that took forever. I mean, we've been broken up 18 years and it broke my heart when he left. I mean, I literally like, I was at my most suicidal when he left because I just loved him to pieces. But now I know it was the best thing that happened for me. And I'm grateful that he had the strength to let me go to do that.
You're tripping me out. There's just too many synchronicities, too many connections. I have a similar story. My girlfriend, honestly, the only girlfriend that I really like feel was like a real relationship. We were together for 3 years and we were in our early 20s and we were alcoholics. I'll be honest. We were alcoholics and whether we wanted to admit it or not, we were party kids, and we just, it was a lot of toxicness, and I got to a point at the end of our relationship where I told her, I was like, when I drank, I was a fun drunk. Like I would be happy and I'd be laughing, but when she would drink, she wanted to fight and just start crying and all this, and it would always just ruin the mood, and it was just like over and over. She really had an allergy, I would describe it, to alcohol, where she's one of those people, and I got to the point at the end of our relationship where I told her, I was like, same thing, I just like, I have to leave you, like we have to separate. And she's doing so much better now. Same thing, she's sober and she's finding her way, and now I'm sober and I'm finding my way. Sometimes like you said, so we are spiritual, maybe like I knew like that's what needed to be done, for us to pursue our purpose in life, and
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And I feel really bad for the people who get hooked on like like the fentanyls or the
Oh
heroin
yeah.
that are really hard to beat it. But that is their lesson. And they called that in for some reason to learn. But I really hope that they can really turn that around. And that's really dark
Yeah.
stuff. I don't know how to, that's a big
That's
problem.
a big epidemic happening right now, and there's a whole conspiracy about that. And like I said, how I'm always finding homeless people to buy them food or whatever. There was a couple of them outside of a Starbucks like a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, you know what? They look hungry, man. And I went out there. I was like, you guys hungry? I'm gonna get a pizza. And they're like, oh yeah, thank you, thank you. And I went and bought a pizza, and literally I was gone 10 minutes, and by the time I got back, they were passed out. They, they're on fentanyl. They're all passed out, and their limbs are all red and swollen, and it's just, yeah, there's a whole thing going on with that right now.
So sad
Yeah,
because that's hard. That's hard.
yeah, yeah. So to kind of piggyback for a second there, so I asked you, like, how did you develop this sense of spirituality? So it sounds like you really developed it with that psychic school, but it also seems like you're a natural clairvoyant, a natural intuitive. So what about as a kid? Was there any interesting things that you noticed as a kid?
Well, it's so weird because I really just I'm okay. I'm writing my second book now. I got two book deals now. And I want to tell people I have a ninth grade education. Okay. I'm not somebody that came from a lot of money. I've been on my own since I was 14. I've like worked my butt off to get everywhere I was. Everybody told me I was just the pretty blonde girl or whatever, and never gave me, and I didn't have any education. So um uh, when I tell people I wanted to write or whatever, they would just be like, "Oh yeah, Gina, just go be, your cute little self." And constantly my femininity has been put on display. I mean, not even to the like this one guy who I considered a good friend who owns a publishing company. When I told him I just finished my book and I sent him the that I wrote, I was so proud of it. Just
Yeah.
this book coming out in June. He was like, "Oh, congratulations! Can I see your boobies now?"
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I get that all the time, and it just really irked me because I was like, you don't understand. I wanted to write my whole life. I People told me I couldn't do it forever. People always wanted to lean into me being my looks or whatever. And I'm more than just that. And literally like they just would kind of reduce me down to some dumb blonde. It just was, and because I was silly and I'm still fun and I have a kid like spirit, right? And so that dichotomy has been really hard because I do want to. I can be joy because I'm selling joy in a way,
Mm.
um, and that's what's kept me going. Thank God I had that little innocent light inside of me, but that kid still lived inside of me because that never died. I never
Mm.
let anybody take away my innocence, you know?
Mm.
And I held on to that like a crazy person. Like I would see the beauty in everything. Even when I felt really bad and disconnected, I would see a flower or a dog and I would just see the innocence in it. But I'm reading my second book right now. I just got my second book deal with O Books, and I can't believe it. It's just like people are freaking out because they're like, what? Um, but I channel energies, right? I channel my guides. And the guide that came in to help me write this book, her name's Sue Ellen. And she's not in a body right now, but she has committed suicide in almost every one of her lives.
Oh.
And she wants to help me write the book
Oh.
because she's like, you're writing my story, you're telling my story. She calls it planet walking. She goes, I really wish I could planet walk, but I'm too sensitive. And
Huh.
she said, because she's an actual earth angel, there's something that I'll have in my book that describes what an earth angel is. And she goes, and you are too. And so this was only like last week. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. So I am an actual like earth angel. So it's almost like, like the regular angels, but that I'm earthbound.
Wow.
Yeah, and I just found that out like 2 weeks, like a week ago or something like that. And it made sense because that's why I'm so sensitive. And that's why a lot of these people, they want to pull out their hair when they see disgusting stuff done to people. Because they're actually either maybe earth angels or they're like these clairvoyant spirits that they're just and they can't understand. A lot
Yeah.
of people that are suicidal are star seeds, like where they originally came from
Yeah.
another planet,
Yeah.
or um, they're just really they're just these like I'm saying, like earth angels, and they can't handle how hard we are here. They're in shock almost. They're like they literally are like, what? Like you're gonna abuse all those animals? You're just gonna treat them like what they do the cows and pigs and stuff. Like it's not like they the way that we do it is disrespectful. That's
Hmm.
why I don't eat meat. It's like if I was with a tribe and you had to kill a buffalo and I would share in it. But the way that they do it with no respect, the way that they cut all the trees down with no respect, the way,
Oh yeah.
the way that they don't care. Oh, we're going to ruin the orangutan's life. They don't care. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
as humans, we have to get better.
Oh yeah.
But that's why people become suicidal too, because they can't handle so many of the negative things they see in this world.
Oh yeah.
It it literally kills them. And so my dichotomy was that I was watching all this horrible stuff, but then I didn't belong anywhere either. So I just literally, I wasn't even really depressed most of the time. I just say, I don't belong here. Where do I belong?
Hmm.
And not with them, not with them, not with them. I see all this, I see this. I want to go. That's how a lot I want to go. I want to go now. Until I found that purpose and that I could use my voice for something and things like that. But I understand. That's why a lot of people commit suicide is definitely the world's they see too many horrible things. But you can find your path and why, because you don't want to have to repeat it. And there is a potential that if you cut your contract too early, you
Oh
might have to repeat it. So you might as
yeah.
well go through the hard stuff.
Yeah.
But that's one reason why I'm talking about it, because I'm like,
Yeah.
well, here, get this book if you want, or do this. I want to help you stay and get through the hard stuff so you can accomplish your contractual goals. So you don't have
Yeah.
to do this again, because you really do have to just start over a lot of the times.
Yeah.
You check out early. You can't check out early. You just like it doesn't. It's a temp. Like again, it's a permanent,
Yeah.
a temporary problem.
Wow, I love that. Yeah. You're gonna be reincarnated, do it again. So yeah, it's like I remember as a kid, like growing up, I was always so afraid of death. And as I get older, I'm like, you know what? This place is dark, man. There's a lot of pain and suffering here. I'm like, you know what? One life's enough for me. So, and you're completely right. I think I'm on my purpose as well. The DJ, the music, cryptic conversations, so many synchronicities. I don't know what they've been, but just messages would come to me, and I'm just pursuing it now. And it's been the same thing. And I've had so many different spiritual coaches and practitioners on the show, and all of them have told me, "Oh, you're an intuitive empath. Oh, you're a light worker. Oh, you're a starseed." I've been throwing all these labels at me now, and I'm like, oh, so that's what I am. Oh, it makes sense. So it's like all these labels have been thrown at me. I don't know exactly what I am. I just always labeled myself as sensitive, but I do believe that I'm here for a reason, and it is similar to you to help raise the vibration, raise the frequency, help educate and empower people, and help people learn about all these spiritual topics. I do believe I'm here for a reason, and you do
And
too. And
it's fun. I'm sorry. It's so fun.
yeah,
And that's why people that get into the space, because it almost makes you high. Because this is what I'm trying to, like, if someone's feeling low right now, yeah, it gets a little bit weirdly addictive. I've had some spiritual, like, meditations, like one of my very first meditations that was mind blowing. I was in a Hindu temple, and I was just meditating, right? And not a Hindu, but I really appreciated the music and the dancing, and I was just meditating. And because when you meditate together, you actually increase the volume of
uh,
frequency. Is actually true. If we sat with 10 people meditating, it'd be like 200 people meditating in the energy. That's why meditating
mm,
together
yeah,
instead of alone is actually really good. Or doing prayer work together is actually really good because we become way more powerful. And the ritual, like as in the tribes would do, they would all do it. But I had this whole thing, and it's really quick, but I was just sitting there. I went way out of my body, completely out of my body. I went to space, and I was completely bodiless, right? But I'm flying like I was Superman or something. I could fly through the air. I could see what a black hole looked like. I could feel that power of the black hole, like going in on itself and sucking in stars and everything. And then I went over and I could see the planets, and I saw Saturn. And I
oh,
literally like flew over to Saturn, and I could see my hand, and I put my hand out on the red things around Saturn, the rings, and it was going through my hand. And I felt so infinite, and it was just, and then I zoomed back into my body, and I was like, okay, I want to do that again. I mean, it was so much fun. It was so intense. Uh, and I felt so grateful to have it. And I didn't sleep for like 2 days because it was like you get infused with the light through your whole body and you're not tired. And
yeah,
when I write, I literally write for like 12 hours straight almost. And then I'm up for like another 12 hours. I don't really sleep because you get infused with the light and it makes you like a kind of high. It's like it's the
yeah,
natural high.
yeah.
But I
Wow.
just want people to know you can get there. And it's those don't come all the time. But that was a really long time ago, and I still
Yeah.
remember it very vividly. It's just like they will come, and everybody
Hmm.
will have their own version of that, and it'll be beautiful. It
Mm,
feels like love at the deepest core. We don't even have a
yeah.
word. We don't even have an English word for what it feels like. I mean, love is just though we need another word for love that's even deeper, you know?
Yeah. Wow, I love your stories. I love the way that you're explaining that. So I think one of the most important topic that we're talking about here, beyond suicidal ideation, is finding your life purpose. Because when you find your life purpose, it gives you meaning to life, and you want to be here, and you feel like you're doing good in the world. You're doing good work. So, do you have a quick method that you teach your clients or that you use to assist in getting in touch with finding your life purpose?
It's very easy. Always ask constantly when you have a choice, what excites me the most? Use the word excite. So if you're like, okay, because excitement is the key. And how does it buzz and feel in your body? So if you're like, I can watch television or I can read a book, what excites me the most? Or I could go out with my friends, or I could draw a picture. You have to really, and you're not talking about exciting as in that sounds like fun. I'm talking like look at your whole body and go, you know what? I want to draw a picture tonight. You know what? I want to play some music. I want to learn how to play the drums.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to learn how to sing or whatever that is you have, because the universe wants you to create. I don't care if you're creating mud pies or a work of art. It want We are here to create. We are a creative planet.
Hmm.
So just create, and you could create a new app. I don't care. It doesn't have to be, it could be something else, but it wants you to create. Your spirit guides want you to create. When you create, you connect to your higher selves. It's you connect to other guides. When someone writes a song, there's energies that are working through you.
Oh yeah.
If you are playing a guitar, there's at least three people writing a song. You, the guitar, and at least a spirit guide or your higher
Oh
self.
wow.
And that's when you don't want to be suicidal when you are connected. You can see yourself, right? You're like, oh, I'm special. I have this cool like soul that's,
Yeah.
and also to remember that your soul actually is like a fingerprint. There's nobody that is like it. I can see people's soul when I meditate long enough and I can see what they look like. Your soul has a specific look and sound and even
Oh.
name. You have an original name of that soul. When that light came from that star and before it became a human, you had a name and a sound and a vibration and a look. And then you got the meat suit, right? So there is an original name that you have. There is an original sound that your body and your soul, like your soul makes. So I work with teenagers and they get this really well. Actually, the new kids that are
Oh yeah.
coming in with more knowledge. And that was done by the galactic councils because they're saying we need to help humans
Oh
more.
yeah. Those
So
are
now
the indigo children and all that and the
they're
star
all
seeds.
coming
Yeah.
in, but they're coming in with a lot more, like even more, like 10% more knowledge of all this stuff. And now the autistic kids that are coming in now are savants, really. Like we need to protect them.
Yeah.
But when I talk to a kid, they get this right away. When I show them meditation and say they're depressed, I've had people where their kids have been in therapy for like 3-4 years and they're depressed and they go to a therapist once a week. I've done 4 sessions and then the kid never goes back to therapy. And the parents are like, what did you do? And I was like, I showed them what their soul looks like.
Oh my
Because what I
God.
did is I got that vision and I was able to connect my sixth chakra with their sixth chakra. And I send them the image and they go, what's that? And I go, that's your soul. They go, that's fucking bitchin'. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's you. That's who you really are. And then,
Yeah.
oh, I'm awesome. And they get it right away and they get healed. They get healed almost instantly. If you get that kind of, if you get to do that and they can see their own frequency, man, that kid won't be depressed anymore ever again, really. I mean, through normal life, but
Yeah.
no. Once
I've
you see your soul, you never go back.
Yeah, as a kid, I would look up at the night sky at the stars, and I always had this thought. I was like, as a kid, I would look at the stars. I was like, oh, when I die, I turn into a star. That's what I always had that thought.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Could you tell me anything about my soul or anything?
I can kind of see it. It's actually has like a milky kind of look to it, but it has all these colors running through it. I'm seeing like strings of indigo blue.
Huh.
I kind of can see it dancing. It has like this almost like a pearlescence. It's like a pearlescent. It's kind of rotating like a pearlescence, and I'm seeing yeah, these different color rainbow color strings, but the strings are real thin.
Huh.
And it's sort of dancing. It's sort of like it flattens out sometimes, and then sometimes it goes into it's almost like maybe there's a music kind of. I'm feeling the music part of it. It's like it likes to dance. It
Oh
has
wow.
a really unique way of moving. I can't even think of what that movement is. It's just there's a really neat flow to it. Yeah, yeah, and it's kind of getting visually put into me right now. So I'll just send it to you a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah. And for some reason, your original name, I think, starts with the O.
Huh.
I'm getting a big, like, it's O, like, it sounds almost Greek. It's some, like, so if you ever get an O word that feels like you,
Oh
yeah,
wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
This has been such a stimulating conversation. So let's talk about your book, though. So please tell us about your book. How was it working with Dr. Amelia Kelly, the Swedenborg Foundation, and getting Thomas More to write the foreword?
Well, Thomas More was on New York Times bestselling list for 46 weeks.
Nice.
So he's not a small spiritual guy. That was just another blessing. I can't even believe it. But so the Emanuel Swedenborg was he had a IQ of 210. There's only
What?
three other people in the world that ever had a IQ above 200, and he's one of them.
Wow.
So he died in the 1700s, and his name's Emanuel Swedenborg. And so the Swedenborg Foundation is based on all of his thousands and thousands of teaching. So I was his research assistant in that life.
What?
Mm-hmm. So in that life, I died at 54 years old from a lung disease. Okay. He died 2 years before me. And when he died, he said, I want you to take all my research and get out as much information as you can. But I died 2 years later and I didn't get all his work out. And I felt really bad. But guess how old I am?
Right now?
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
thir
but
thir 32? I don't know.
I'm 54. But listen to this. So I'm writing the book. All right, so Emmanuel Swedenborg starts coming in as soon as I get the deal, and I sign the deal, and he's like, "Do you want me to help guide your writing process?" And I'm like, "Yes." So I got totally channeled by Emmanuel Swedenborg. He says, "Do you want to find a new place to live?" And I said, "Yes." I was living in a trailer. This is last year. And I told you I gave away all my money. I was living in a trailer with my dogs. He said, "Yep." I go, "Yes, I'd like to have a new place to live." He goes, "Okay, I'm going to find you a new place to live." So, I mean, it was really, and then he told me, he showed me this whole life. He said, so I was 53 when I started writing this. He's like, "You're panicking because you're almost on your 54th birthday and your soul's panicking because it wants to make sure it gets this book out before you, just because that memory of you dying at 54, you're over
Oh,
54."
oh my God.
So I'm like, I felt like there was an urgency to get this out. And he goes, "You're going to be okay. You're not going to die." And so I turned 54 in January. But that's why I was panicking because I really, and that's why I'm, aligned with the Swedenborg Foundation. It was just all like divinely guided. It was really amazing. And then, so I needed to find a new place to live. And then I got guided to this house near the beach. It was a miracle. The whole place was empty. And I found this rosary hanging on the fence. And the owners is like, "We think this house belongs to you." Like nobody, and it's like 10 houses from the beach. And like nobody gets to get this house. And they gave me the most amazing deal. They didn't want to check my background, nothing.
Oh
And they
my
said,
God.
they let me move in 2 weeks free. And I took this picture of this rosary and I go, "Is this yours?" And they go, "No, girl, that's meant for you." They knew it.
Oh
And
my
what
God.
landlords in Los Angeles are that nice?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Wow.
And so he was like, "This is where you're going to write the book." And it was like a miracle. I mean, it's this beautiful house on the beach, like thousands less than it was worth. I get to move in. I mean, it was like I got the place. And so that's why I think I always feel like I'm going to be okay, that I'm going to like things.
Yeah.
And then now I got the second book, and because I haven't really made any money on any of this stuff, and it will come. But I've just got this weird faith that everything will come into at perfect timing.
Wow. That's amazing.
But
Yeah, you're divinely protected. Yeah.
yeah, I feel that. But and you know what? I love humans. I love people. I want people. And people go, "You love humans? You love people?" I don't love people. Like a lot of people say that. I'm like, "Well, how
Oh
are we
yeah.
gonna get better if we don't love people?
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah.
Can't we be nice? We just have to be better. We just have to. We have to. We have to just be better. And what you're doing is making it better and bringing it along and letting people say, "Yeah, I prefer being in joy." Like I tell people, so many nasty stuff on social media and stuff like that. Just don't reply. Don't reply. Go for a walk if that's something, unless you see something like, like we go back to hurting animals or children or old people, and you're like, I have to like report somebody or something like that, like something really bad. But if you're going to fight over a it's just, it gets nobody, nowhere, anything. You become that energy. Even if you're right, that righteousness energy, like that's bad energy. Being righteous, I'm right, you're wrong, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what.
Yeah.
You know what? And then they say, "This is the truth." It's like, you don't know what the truth is.
Yeah.
There is no truth, really. I mean, it's sort of
Yeah.
it's stop being so righteous.
Yeah.
With all these wars going on, it's like, no, I know this. Like I had people fighting with me about the wars going on, and I didn't even mention hardly anything about what's going on in Israel and stuff like that. And it was like, we're two white people in LA. I really don't think I have enough information to make this decision
Yeah.
on my feelings about it. I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Hmm.
Honestly, I don't. Of course, look at me. I don't want anyone to get hurt. But fighting to almost the death and verbally abusing somebody and bullying somebody to try to believe in something, like you live in
Yeah.
you live in Vegas or you live in LA. It's just you're adding to the pool of negativity. You're really not helping. You're not helping the people that you want to help.
Yeah.
Like it's not doing any good
Yeah.
to just batter someone because you want them to believe your thing. Like it's just we got to let that go. We'll be so much of a better society if we stop hating on people on social media.
Hmm.
Why do we have to say those things? Like just avoid it. Because
Yeah.
it actually, I don't care what it is, you will carry that. And you will lay in bed and go, God, that really made me mad. And then you're maybe even going, oh, I was kind of mean, or you sit with it. We know everybody can remember a time where we wrote something on social media and was like, oh, maybe should have said that. You do
Yeah.
need to create it. So I don't know. I just, especially an election year coming up,
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, come on, you guys. Really?
Yeah, I can feel a crazy year ahead of us this year. There's going to be a lot of changes that are going to be happening. So kind of closing it out, looking ahead, what do you envision for the future of your work and your impact on mental health in society?
Well, I'm building a 360. Okay, I'm a crazy person, as in I'm fearless. I am fearless. And so I'm building a total 360 package, right? So I'm doing the documentary and I'm raising $500,000 for that. I already have my team. And it's not going to be dark. It's going to be about where you can live and how you can live to avoid suicidal ideation and the history of it. But we're also going to look at where all this money's gone that we don't know where, billions of dollars to mental health, and it's hardly going into any programs. So we're going to put people on the hot seat a little bit about the money. I'm going to build an app, a mental health wellness app. It's going to have safety plans in it. It's going to have all the meditations. It's going
Mm,
to have all the resources. And then I built Suicidal Ideation Anonymous, which acts just like AA. So I'm trying to get grants for that and trying to build a
mm,
team. I need a director and I need resources and I need people. If I get a big enough grant for that, like a couple $1,000,000, I can hire a whole new team to do that. And I have this book, Surviving Suicidal Ideation. My second book is Healing Suicidal Ideation, a handbook for the living. And what that's going to be, I'm illustrating what energy looks like for people.
mm,
So if you don't want to read, you could just look at the pictures.
mm.
But it's going to be like I got the idea off, Tim Burton, Beetlejuice. So remember the book that they have in it, like a handbook for the recently deceased?
Uh-huh.
I loved that. So, but I remembered as a kid saying, I want a handbook for the living. So
Okay.
I'm making a handbook for the living. It's
Oh
going to,
yeah.
and it's not going to be, it's going to have little sections like, here's your soul, here's what a soul's blueprint is, here's what a contract is. Here, it's going to be really almost like a glossary. So you don't have
Mm.
to have a ton of reading. So you can kind of go pick what resonates with you and what doesn't. So I'm building a whole ecosystem. I'm hoping that right now I'm just me because I
Uh-huh.
haven't raised any money yet, but I'm hoping that, sponsors come in, people come in, my people start going on my YouTube channel and subscribing, please. Um, that something comes in and that it just clicks all into place is what I'm hoping.
I love that you got some big goals. You're aiming for the stars, and I think you're gonna meet those goals. Also, if you need any help, I work at a small digital marketing company, so we do ads, social media, email, websites, all that. So if you ever needed
Okay.
help with anything, let me know.
Thank you
Um,
so much.
yeah, and then so
Thank you
kind
for
of
saying I look like I'm in my 30s too. I'm kidding.
yeah, wow, 54.
But honestly, ener I'm not even kidding you. Energy work is a de-ager. I look younger now than I did 20 years ago. So, serums and all that filler and all that stuff like that can only get you so far. Really, when
Hmm.
you're light, it will shine all over.
Oh yeah.
So it's a de-ager.
I love it. All right. So can you send the listeners out there a final message of love and healing for the people who might be struggling out there?
Yes. On my website, I have a quote. I wrote this quote, the beginning of this quote, when I was 10 years old, and I didn't know what it meant. You are the joy that nothing else is. Your soul is the most valuable thing you own. Take care of it.
Wow, I love that. Yeah, so simple, so profound. All right, so I want to thank you so much, Gina, for meeting with me today. Thank you for sharing your story and for doing the amazing and beautiful work that you're doing. You're an incredible soul with so much to offer this world. So I also want to thank the listeners for sticking around to the end. So once again, please tell everyone where to find your information, and I'll also add it to the description of the video.
TheLiberatedHealer.com, also The Liberated Healer, my YouTube channel and Instagram. Everything's Liberated Healer. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.